The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
Our time now is 5:02. And a deadly crash late last night led to a gas leak that shut down a portion of White Lane in southwest Bakersfield and caused residents at a nearby apartment complex to be temporarily evacuated. Bakersfield police say a woman driving an SUV driving down White Lane near Dovewood Street when she tried turning in front of oncoming traffic and hit another car. The man driving the car was killed.
The driver of the SUV is an adult female, sustained minor injuries. We're investigating to see if she's possibly a DUI. The driver of the car succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Don't know about speed or any other factors at this point.
The crash pushed the car into a gas main, causing a leak that resulted in 12 apartments being evacuated for a little more than an hour and a half before residents were allowed back inside. White Lane had to be shut down between Acres Road and Stein Road to repair the gas leak. BPD says the woman driving the SUV, 29-year-old Kimberly Fomasuk, has been arrested for several charges, including gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated.
Meantime, a man's dead following a crash Tuesday night in Taft. It happened around 8 p.m. on North Lincoln Street near Cedar Street. CHP says the 48-year-old man was killed when he suddenly swerved his car into oncoming traffic, crashing head-on into another car. CHP says both vehicles were going the speed limit, and there's no indication that drug or alcohol were factors in this case. However, officials say it could be a case of distracted driving. The other driver involved suffered only minor injuries. 17 court watch now. A trial date has been set and a judge selected for the trial of Matthew Queen, accused of torturing and killing a man in what's become known as the Bakersfield 3 case. A tentative trial date of March 21st was set yesterday, and Judge Charles R. Brummer presiding. Queen, 45, and ex-girlfriend Bailey Despot are accused of killing Michael Holsenbake. Despot's also charged with torture and murder, but has been missing since shortly after Holsenbake disappeared. The garage of Matthew Tyler Van de Castile is believed to have been the site of the torture and killing. Van de Castile took a plea deal and has agreed to testify at Queen's trial. Your time now is 5:06, and the war in Ukraine is now in its third week. We continue to see disturbing images emerge as Russia escalates its attacks.
All of this as U.S. officials tell NBC News there are concerns Russia is preparing to use chemical or biological weapons in Ukraine. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington. Bree?
Good morning, Alex, Maddie. Vice President Harris is in Poland today, where she's scheduled to meet with the Polish president and Ukrainian refugees. Her trip comes as Russia appears to be ramping up its attacks on civilians. More heartbreaking images coming out of Ukraine. Officials there say a Russian airstrike destroyed a maternity hospital Wednesday, leaving children under the wreckage.
I cannot realize why it's necessary for Russian troops to destroy hospital.
As Ukrainians flee to safety, Vice President Kamala Harris meets with leaders in Poland to discuss the crisis.
To ensure that Russia also pays a serious and severe consequence.
This after the U.S. rejected Poland's plan to provide Ukraine with fighter jets, but have the U.S. deliver them.
It raises some serious concerns for the entire NATO alliance, so we have to work through the specifics of these things going forward.
Ukraine's president urging the country's supporters to create a no-fly zone or share responsibility for a humanitarian catastrophe. In Russia, more financial fallout as companies worldwide close their doors.
That is having a profound impact not just today, but over the long term.
The Kremlin is accusing the U.S. of launching an economic war after President Biden banned Russian oil imports, a move expected to impact Americans' wallets.
Beyond filling your tank up, your next visit to the grocery store, the hardware store, your next flight are all going to have significantly impacted fuel prices.
U.S. and European allies believe Moscow's invasion is about to take a more brutal turn. Ukrainian civilians are preparing to fight back. Late last night, the House passed a massive spending bill to avert a government shutdown and provide nearly $14 billion in aid to Ukraine. The measure now heads to the Senate. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
And more now from the City Serve team from Bakersfield in Poland as the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine continues to unfold. They've been working with Polish church leaders at a border crossing just outside the town of Przemysl, where thousands of Ukrainian refugees are flooding across the border to escape the horror in their homeland. City Serve volunteers are awaiting a massive shipment of food from the U.S. being transported by cargo plane to Warsaw, Poland. From there, it will go to warehouses closer to the border for distribution to hungry, exhausted refugees.
Thank you, KGT. Thank you, Kern County. We're standing right here in Warsaw in a warehouse. Right here, food, the million meals are coming. It's going through Ukraine, and we just want to say thank you. We're going to hear from Peter what they're doing from right here.
Just a quick thing. Everything gets shipped in here and then gets distributed. Basically, what we're doing, we're trying to ship as much as possible stuff over the border into Ukraine. There's another warehouse that gets separated, and people with their needs, they come and pick it up, and they get distributed to the hot spots, the places where you and me cannot go. It's danger. There are many different laws, but with God's mercy, we're doing it. We're delivering it right into their doorsteps. We're delivering to people in their bunkers, at their homes, and wherever they are, we're helping them.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you. Keep praying for the people of Ukraine, for the Polish people, yes. Also stepping up, serving. There's so many people saying we want to use help.
And we'll have more on City Serve's mission to feed the refugees from Ukraine tonight on 17 News at 5 and 6.
The family of a Tehachapi High School graduate convicted of assaulting 2 Russian police officers in 2018 spoke with President Biden on Tuesday over the phone. Joey and Paula Reed, the parents of U.S. Marine Trevor Reed, stood outside the president's motorcade during his visit Tuesday to Fort Worth, Texas, holding a sign about their son. They had previously requested a meeting with the president, which was declined. The president says, or the family says, President Biden acknowledged them as the motorcade passed by, and the president later called the family. A White House official say the president called the Reeds to reiterate his commitment to doing everything he can to bring their son home.
17 Crime Watch now. Members of the Kern County Auto Theft Task Force busted a so-called chop shop in central Bakersfield, leaving a handful of people under arrest. First responders arrived at East 21st Street near Union Avenue around 1 p.m. Tuesday and found 16 stolen cars being dismantled in order to sell their parts. Officers also found a loaded, unregistered gun. 4 people were arrested on charges related to car theft. The Kern County Auto Theft Task Force is made up of investigators with the California Highway Patrol and detectives with the Bakersfield Police Department. Insurance.com says that Bakersfield has more car thefts per capita than any other city in the nation.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County, and the virus still proving deadly, with 6 new deaths announced yesterday by Kern Public Health. However, only 69 new cases of the virus were reported. That is the lowest daily case rate we've seen in months. State data also shows improvement in our local hospitals, with 77 people in the hospital with more severe symptoms of the virus and 13 people in the ICU. That is 3 fewer than Tuesday. A new study finds that schools that implemented mask requirements had fewer COVID-19 cases. The study from Duke University involved more than 1 million students and more than 150,000 staff members attending 61 K-12 schools between July and December 2021. Schools that instituted a universal mask requirement reported 72% fewer COVID-19 infections within the schools compared to schools with optional mask requirements. School districts that made wearing a mask optional throughout the study period had over 3 times the rate of secondary transmission as those who were universally masked.
Students, teachers, and parents gathered yesterday to celebrate the life of McFarland High School teacher and basketball coach Fernando Alaniz. Alaniz suddenly passed away last month at the school where he had taught for 3 years. 17's Christian Galeno was there for the emotional tribute.
Well, it was an emotional Wednesday afternoon here at McFarland High School as the entire community gathered and joined hands together to remember the life and to celebrate coach and teacher Fernando Alaniz, a local legend, as they say, that changed and marked their lives forever. Almost a month after Fernando Alaniz passed away, teary-eyed colleagues and students gathered to share their fondest memories of the late coach and teacher at the McFarland High School quad.
Kids are going to call on you to give them the strength.
He was a coach of tough love. He loved them, he cared for them, and he was a difference maker to a lot of our kids.
Felt like I knew him forever.
Memories that for senior Oscar Lopez were actually lessons Alaniz taught on the basketball court.
He made me have so much confidence in myself, like in my game and like in basketball, and he also made me really believe in myself. And that's really what I like about him, because he believed in every single one of us and every single player.
He would always tell me, you know, hey, the kids, they love the games, but I love practice. And I love practice because that's my classroom.
Coach Alaniz passed away February 7th, just a week from his 50th birthday. A cause of death is still unknown. A day that marked the lives of his students and colleagues.
Because I heard that he collapsed in his room, and well, I got out of school, and I was just waiting for him. Because we had a game that day, and I was just waiting for him outside the school and hoping that he would come out.
Thank God that I was able to just be, there. With him in his final moments and with the staff that loved him, taking care of what we could.
Just like the lessons he taught.
Do everything with integrity.
Be energetic.
Do what you are called to do and do it with excellence.
Smile all the time, just appreciate life.
And Coach Alaniz does leave behind his wife, who is an elementary school teacher at the Delano Union School District, and his 3 adult children. We did attempt to talk to them, but they said they are not quite ready yet to speak on the passing of their loved one. For now, reporting in McFarland, Christian Milano, 17 News.
And making news around town this morning, the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce held its annual board installation and awards luncheon yesterday, honoring those who have worked to better the life in Bakersfield.
I'm honored and I'm humbled to serve as your chairman. I look forward to working with all of you to ensure that our chamber's commitment to support and to advocate on behalf of all Kern County businesses and all Kern County business owners remains our top priority.
Rick Hawes took center stage at yesterday's event, formally inducted as the 2022 chairman of the board. He replaces KGET TV's general manager, Derek Jeffrey, who served as chairman over the last 2 years. Also, former 17 News at Sunrise anchor Kiyoshi Tomono, who now works with Adventist Health Bakersfield. Well, it is a conference by teens for teens, focused on giving kids the space they need to dig into the issues that affect them most. The Leaders in Life Conference returns to Mechanics Bank Convention Center later today after going virtual last spring. 17's Chris Burton joins us live from the Convention Center with more. Good morning, Chris.
Alex, good morning. I can tell you they are excited to have it back this year. It kicks off at 8 a.m. just in a few short hours, and I'm joined now by Aiden Young. He's a junior at Liberty High School. He's also the board chair for this year's Leaders in Life Conference. Aiden, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So I know it has been so much work over almost a year to bring this thing back in person. How does it feel that the day's finally here?
It feels so good. We're so excited to be back. It's been over 2.5 years since we've had an in-person conference, the last one in March 2019. So we're so excited to be back at this conference today. It's going to be a great day, and we're super excited to have all the students come and visit us today.
A big theme of this conference is teens, by teens for teens. Teens getting to talk about the issues that they find most pressing. What are some of the issues on your mind that you are planning to bring to the table today?
Today we have so many great workshops, and they're going to tackle different issues such as social media use. They're going to tackle issues as diversity and different mental health. We also have different ones on how to be public speakers and just how to better their leadership skills in the community.
Aiden, thank you so much for joining us. If you are a student who wants to get involved in Leaders in Life, you can talk to your school counselor, or you can also go to leadersinlife.org to get involved in future conferences. Live in Bakersfield, Chris Burton, 17 News.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.